Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what. I'll go first. I used to work at Quick Trip, and our machines did not give us the amount of change that we were supposed to give back to you. So say your total was $7.34 and you gave me a $20 bill. I can tell you that I owe you 1 penny, 1 nickel, 1 dime, 2 quarters, $2, and a $10 bill.
Tell me something a job taught you that you will never forget.
Okay, I will do it. My job as an ICU nurse has taught me that it is a lot more about the quality of your life than the quantity. I've sat with a lot of people in the last moments of their life, and I've also been present during a lot of people's really traumatic deaths. So here's a few things that I've learned. A big one that I believe is people don't die until they want to die. We will have patients survive unsurmountable odds while they're waiting for a certain family member to show up or a certain family member to leave, and then instantly they will pass on. A lot of patients need permission to die. Some patients want to know that certain loved ones will be okay. So despite all the physical anomalies, these patients still seem to have some kind of control at the end of their life. Another big one is that death is not scary. Some patients do experience a lot of fear up until the moment that they die, but in the moments of actual death, it's incredibly peaceful. And even in traumatic deaths, once we stop resuscitation attempts, there's an eerie calm while the patient actually passes away. I've learned that not enough people talk about death, at least realistically, so the majority of people don't really know what it looks like, and that makes discussing end-of-life choices really difficult.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
You do not matter. No matter how much you think you're not replaceable because of how good you are at your job, they do not care. You are 100% replaceable, they can fire you, and hire someone else to do your job for less money. Only do the work that is in your job description. If you're doing more work than what's in your job description, you're not being a good employee. You're providing extra labor to a company that's going to pay you the same regardless. Your coworkers are not your family. Because at the end of the day, your family is going to choose their paycheck before you. The biggest thing that every job has ever taught me is that working for someone else will not provide me with the life that I want.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
That they don't care. They don't care that you got in a wreck on the way to work. They don't care that your babysitter didn't show up. They don't care that you just bought a house. This is coming from someone who sat on the executive board with the CEO, with the COO, with all of the higher ups. They don't care. They don't care what you have going outside of work. It is about the result. It is about the deliverable. And the sooner you remove the emotion out of the work that you do, the further that you can go. Because when you start to think that they care if you had a bad day, then you give yourself an excuse to have a bad day. When you think that they care that you're doing really well in your personal life, you give yourself an excuse. When you remove the emotion, you will go further. Show up. Be passionate about the work that you are doing if you are. If you don't care about the work you're doing, do the bare minimum, but take the emotion out of it and stop people thinking that people care. It wasn't until I understood this that I doubled my salary and was able to get promoted. It sounds cold, but it's true.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
That children say the wildest things, and you don't always have the right way to respond to them. Like once this 12-year-old and this other 12-year-old decided they were dating, and then 2 days later he decided they weren't dating anymore. So the girl cried for like 20 minutes. She walked up to my friend and goes, "I'm so sad." And my friend looked her in the eyes and goes, "Do you need some water? I can take you to the water fountain." Because in case you didn't know, hydration gets you through heartbreak. The other day, my sister was talking to a girl at camp, and she goes, "I wish I was a bug." My sister goes, "What kind?" And she goes, "The kind that gets killed easily." Excuse me? She was 6. And I mean, like, same, but still. One time, I had a kid walk up to me and goes, "Oh, Mr. Cameron, I got something great to tell you. My mom and dad don't love each other anymore."
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
Okay, so I've actually learned 2 things in my time of having a career. And really, my mom's one who told me about these, and the workforce is just what verified them. So the first thing is, it does not pay to be salary. Whether you are working 40 hours a week or 80 hours a week, you are going to be given that exact salary at the end of the year. And when you're hourly, you're getting paid for every minute that you are on the clock. Number 2, it does not pay to be good at your job. And what I mean by that is, You and I can have the same exact job description, the exact same responsibilities, and get paid the exact same amount. But the employee who is better at their job ends up getting more responsibility, has to deal with more problems, gets more projects, and you're still getting paid the same amount of money.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
Oh, butterfly flying high in the sky wearing a suit and a tie. Here's the thing, right? Every single job follows the same exact pattern. Right? Doesn't matter what job you got, every single job is the same exact way. Don't believe me, watch. Every single job has a manager that no one likes. The manager that is mean to almost everybody and sits and wonders why, how come no one talks to me? Because no one likes that manager, right? Then you have the super laid back, cool manager that everybody vibes with. Right? Then you have the coworker that gets away with everything, right? They can call out 5 days in a row, not one punishment towards them at all. You can't have 5 family emergencies in a row, okay, unless you're an Avenger, right? Then you have the coworker that takes their job way too seriously, right? They're like a wannabe manager, but you guys are working the same position, right? And then there's you. The person who requests Tuesdays off 3 weeks in advance and they still schedule you. You want to know why? Because you're not allowed to enjoy your free time. That's why.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
Shit, I'm gonna give y'all a few because the jobs I worked at, they be having me fucked up. First off, fuck a 2 weeks notice, especially if that job don't respect you, fuck giving a 2 weeks notice. And don't come in my comments talking about, oh, you need to be professional. They don't ever give you a notice if they're gonna fire you or if they're gonna reduce your hours. Like, fuck that shit. Secondly, you are allowed to request off and don't ever let these jobs make you feel bad for doing so. They give you time off for a reason. And if you request a day off for something important and they don't give it to you, take the day off anyway, especially if you gave them an ample amount of time, take the fucking day off. Like, you gave them a month in advance or so to figure out the schedule. It is their job to figure it out. Don't let them guilt trip you into coming in. And lastly, be careful around your coworkers because just because y'all work together does not mean they're your fucking friend.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
Alright, I'm about to put y'all motherfuckers on game to watch this shit go viral. Now, I was a debt collector for 5 motherfucking years. But I don't even know how the fuck I got that job. I was a debt collector in debt. But if you get constant calls from debt collectors, listen to this shit. If they don't do these 3 things, you can fuck around and sue their ass. And cash out, you feel me? But almost every collection agency records their calls. So they have to start the call with, hello, this call will be recorded for quality assurance purposes. If they don't tell you that they're recording the call, you can sue their ass. Another thing, all debt collectors must recite this one thing called the mini Miranda. Hello, this communication is from debt collector and any information obtained will be used for that purpose. If they don't tell you that shit, you can sue their ass. And most importantly, this one is the one that's gonna make you cash the fuck out. If you get constant calls from a fucking collection agency and you tell them, remove my motherfucking number, and you end up getting a motherfucking call from the same collection agency, make sure to screenshot that shit, cause you can sue their ass. And like I said, all calls are recorded. They gotta pull the motherfucking call.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
That no matter how good you are at the job or to the job, no matter how much you don't call out, no matter how much you don't complain, no matter how much you come in on your days off, that job will let you go with no hi, bye, or kiss my ass. And they won't feel bad about it either. They will literally fire you and then rub salt into the wound.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
Working at jobs has taught me to be fake, y'all. Yup, your girl's a real one. But when I started to work for people, I had to tone it down. If your boss is pissing you off, you can't really express it. Co-worker talking, you can't slap her on the clock. So you have to be fake. When customers come in and you wave at them and they don't wave at you back, you, hey, welcome to Moe's. You still have to wear a smile. You really have to look like you want to be there. To stay there, you have to learn how to wear a poker face and be fake. Sadly.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
You can be one of the hardest working employees with the best work ethic and be one of the most positively reviewed employees by customers, and people you work with will still not give a shit, especially when it comes to respecting you. Even your boss. If I had a nickel for every time I had a coworker who was a terrible employee, who had a horrible attitude and a terrible work ethic that got treated better than me, I would have been making more than I was getting paid at that job. By the way, speaking of pay, don't go above and beyond what you're getting paid to do, because if you think you're gonna going to try to get a raise by doing more work, your employer is getting more work out of you for less money. By the way, unless you were friends with some of your coworkers before you got the job you're working at, do not blindly trust people you became friends with at work. Don't get me wrong, some of them will be as nice to you as the day is long, but if given the chance, they would backstab you to one-up you in a heartbeat. You know, that's on being at a terrible job at a terrible work environment. I'm happy to say today I'm doing what I love, working in the film industry in Atlanta and as a creator on social media. So if you're busting your ass at a bad job right now, keep your head up. Your dream job will come.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget.
Many U.S. adults don't brush and floss their teeth regularly. Did you know that if you're someone who doesn't get cavities and you start dating someone who is susceptible to caries, they can transfer that gross bacteria into your mouth and you can start getting cavities? Did you know that the same bacteria that causes periodontal disease has been found in the deceased brains of patients with Alzheimer's? Periodontal disease is also linked to heart disease, diabetes. It can exacerbate those very dangerous and life-threatening medical conditions. I have seen so many college-age students, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old boys, men who don't brush multiple days in a row. Did you know when you do get periodontal disease, your teeth can fall out? You can't regrow your teeth. We have to numb you, scale down on your root. It is painful. It is not fun, and your breath smells very bad. If you do not know how to brush and floss your teeth, please call me. I will teach you and I will make sure you get access to it.
What is something a job taught you that you'll never forget?
Hi, I'm here to tell you that all the big box stores like Jared's, Zales, and JCPenney's are price gouging and full on taking advantage of the public, mostly because they're uneducated. Not that their own fault, mind you. But let's look at this. This is a 2-carat diamond engagement set from JCPenney. Beautiful ring, right? $6,249 regular. But wait, they got a sale going on for $1,714. Wow, what a deal, right? Well, look up here where it says Diamond Clarity. You see that right there, I2, I3? For those of you that are not familiar with how diamond grading works, diamonds are graded by 4 categories: color scale, clarity scale, carat weight, and cut scale. Starting with color, white diamonds are D, E, and F. You still get pretty white ones around G, H, and I. It starts to turn yellow really around J, in my opinion. Then clarity comes up. Have I, SI, VS, and VVS, and flawless. If anybody tries to sell you a flawless diamond, punch them right in the gut because they're blatantly lying to you. They don't exist. And the ones that do are in safes locked away for millions of dollars. So what does an I3 diamond look like? Like that. Or that. Or that. Or that. It's like a piece of quartz you found in the mud down by the creek. And the color is I to J, meaning it's right there on the cusp of yellow. Meaning it's not even going to look like this, dude. It's going to have a slight yellow tint to it. The center stone's going to be ugly. Now me, I make a living, not a killing. My family's owned a small jewelry store since 1984. We pride ourselves on not screwing people over. We're honest, take pride in that. But I'm about to expose the shit out of the whole industry here. A lot of salesmen intentionally don't tell you what all this means so they can get you to buy it. They want you to stay stupid, uneducated, and ignorant on this stuff. Now, let's say, for example, you want that same ring, but you want it from me. I can get it in SI1 quality. It's a milestone above I3 or I2. For example, this is an SI1 right here. It's right there below VS, which is very small. Wouldn't be in no IJ color neither. I could double the quality of this. I would sell it regular for like $2,800. Now, if I wanted this exact ring though, I would sell it for like $1,600. Not even kidding you, $1,600 would be about my markup. I would still undercut the corporations because this is garbage that they're peddling. If any of you out there are looking to get engaged, honestly, go to my Instagram, hop in my DMs, I might can help you out. But keep this scale in mind. You want a good middle-of-the-road diamond that ain't gonna break the bank? SI1 or SI2, anywhere between D and H. Ideally, you want to stay between a half and a full carat. You can get a 1 carat oval diamond for like around $4,200 versus at these big box stores that would charge you $6,000 for an I3 in the same size. Remember, next time you're out and about shopping, look up this scale and be wary. Thanks.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
So before I was fired for giving away too much forbearance, I was a student loan debt collector. Sorry. And I learned that per the TCPA Act, bill collectors and telemarketers are not allowed to call your cell phone if they're using auto dialer. All you have to do is, if you're getting these calls on your cell phone, is ask them, are you using an auto dialer? And if they say yes, be like, you don't have permission to call their cell phone anymore. And if they do after that, it's a $1,500 fine every time. You're welcome.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
Your coworkers are not your friends. Stop adding them on social media. They are not your friends. My coworkers be like, do you have an Instagram? Hell no, you scallywag.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
One manager was giving advice to my husband, and he said that there are 3 types of people in the corporate world. Number 1, the person who comes on time, leaves on time. That person is replaceable. Number 2, the person who comes on time but stays an hour too late, doesn't necessarily get paid. That person is also replaceable. And number 3, the person who goes above and beyond for their job. No matter what time of day it is, what day it is, they will come in and do the work. Those are unreplaceable. However, boy was he wrong. Because guess what? Those people are replaceable too. And at the first sign of conflict, your company will not hesitate to let you know that you are also replaceable, even if you go above and beyond for your job. Now, I'm not saying don't do your job properly, but what I am saying is don't do it at the expense of your work-life balance. Always make sure to set boundaries at work. Because the sad truth is, no matter how high up the ladder you are always replaceable.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
So when I worked at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure, I learned during training that this date that's stamped on a lot of products, like Tropicana, milk, etc., is actually the sell-by date. So like that August 28th, that's when they have to sell it by. But the product is actually good up to 2 weeks after that date. Now, on certain products, it'll actually say Best Buy, which will mean the Best Buy date. But if it doesn't say Best Buy, it means that you can use this up to 2 weeks after when that date stamp says. Mind blown.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
For me, is to not rely on that job no matter what. I've been laid off before, like I'm sure so many of you have, so it's important not to rely on just the income of that job. Pick a side hustle, even if it's part-time, 1 night a week, a weekend. Be in charge of bringing in some of your money that you're actually in control of. It's the best thing about a side hustle. And the even better thing about a side hustle is side hustles often lead to full-time hustles, which can allow you to either save more money, maybe leave a job that you don't like, start a whole new career. It's really up to you. The control of a side hustle and the control of bringing in your own income is such a satisfying feeling. So I would say the biggest thing I learned from my regular jobs were to not rely on those regular jobs. Put the power to me, make some extra cash on the side.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
The Co-op, when the shelves are empty like this, they have secret drawers at the bottom of the shelving. Pull open and they keep stock in there. If the drink's out of stock on the shelf, make sure you look at these drawers underneath. Go and check it out and thank me later.
Tell me something a job taught you that you won't forget.
Is anyone else super scared and paranoid and fearful from all the stitches to this video? Because I was, so I just want to share what I've learned from my jobs this past year, and it will give you hope, I promise. So I was working a job before the pandemic, and it made me severely depressed. I was only there for 5 months, but it would have been shorter if my immigrant parents didn't pressure me to stay because it's bad to quit early. But it got to a point where I was genuinely crying when I woke up on my lunch break, in the afternoon, in secret, in the office, or on a walk, and before I went to bed, for 2 weeks straight. So I finally quit just as the pandemic hit. I moved back home and told myself I will never put myself through that ever again. Was unemployed for 6 months, so the lesson here is not quitting, even though if you can quit, you should. Finally got a job after 6 rounds of interviews. Found an old journal of mine from like 2 years ago where I wrote about what I wanted, you know, the type of job, the type of work, coworkers, work-life balance. I wanted to be around other women of color. Everything I wanted, I got in this one job. It took a while, but I think really great things take time to align. The team that I work on now, they didn't have an open position until a month before I applied. And if I knew during those 6 months of unemployment that I would be this happy now, I wouldn't have stressed because I would have known the wait was going to be worth it. So if you have a shitty job right now, shitty coworkers, just know that 1, this will not last forever, and 2, you have choices. There's so much else out there. The problem is you don't know what's out there until you experience it, until it finds you or you find it. So there will be trial and error, but it's worth it. Just be adamant on what you really want and know that it exists. I love my dad, but when I was unemployed, he would tell people like, oh, she's so focused on this one job. She needs to open herself up to other things. You can't get exactly what you want. Wrong. Last time I opened myself up to other things, I wanted to kill myself. So if you have faith in yourself, in God, the universe, whatever, and you're determined, it will happen, it will align at the right time. Also, side note on that previous job that I hated, when they gave me the offer, they pressured me to give them an answer right away. If an employer hires you right away, expects an answer from you right away, needs you to start right away, it's a red flag. You should run, listen to your intuition, don't learn the hard way.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget.
Tell me something a job had taught you that you will never forget.
Protect your energy. Protect your energy. The first impression that you have with the person that you're directly working under is probably the right one. And let me tell you what I mean by that. So I understand people have off days, people have off weeks, people have off months. It's just human nature. But for someone like me that I was so eager to work at any entry-level job because I had these rose-colored glasses, as people would say, I was just eager to see what my potential was at any company and how I can get them to the next level. But especially in this day and age where we're being so overworked for nothing, for what? For a sneaker? For a piece of clothing? Your life, your happiness is not worth sacrificing for a job that's going to replace you like that. I think it's so natural for us to focus on the salary raise or the next location or the next technologies for the next job of opportunity that's going to be available. But what I wish someone would have told me was trust your intuition. Because even if a company or a job may look like it'll be the best fucking thing that'll ever happen to you, in a few months, that can all go to shit. If your coworkers or the person that is in charge is a piece of shit. And most likely, all of your coworkers, it's not usually their fault. It's the person that's in charge. It's because the person that's in charge is also not protecting their energy because they're so in this hustle, hard working, like we all need to slave away because I'm slaving away. It all stems from the top of the pyramid and it trickles down. The toxicity, it trickles down. And I wish someone would have told me to just focus on what I really want, what potential and what value that I can bring, rather than just taking any entry-level job just for the fuck of it. Because that's how you get in. Because that's how you can build your skills. And while that might be true, look for the best options. Don't settle. There are tons of ways to make money right now. Money is everywhere. Money can come to you at any given point. You've just been conditioned to think otherwise. So protect your energy and know your worth.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what.
So these are things that I learned in my current job. Good management does exist. And you should be able to give your opinion and disagree when something isn't right. And your opinion shouldn't be taken personal or held against you in any way. You should be able to take time off if you need to, have sick days if you need to, have emergency days if you need to. And again, shouldn't be taken against you if you do. Micromanagement isn't effective. Your boss should be able to trust you with the job that he hired you for or she hired you for. And working hard for a good company is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But if any of those things don't pertain to your current job, you probably shouldn't be there.
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget no matter what. I'll go first.
As a hairdresser, there's always somebody better than you. There's somebody doing the colors on a client that you want to be doing. There's somebody who's mastered the techniques that you want to learn. There is a level of respect for that person as well as envy. But you take what you get. Not everything is going to be your dream. Not everything is going to be your dream client for the day. And you will get to those techniques as long as you keep plugging away. Also, sometimes your boss is wrong about certain things, especially if you don't see eye to eye and you have a completely different clientele base. But that's just my experience. Tell me what you guys think. What have you guys learned in your fields?
Tell me something a job has taught you that you will never ever forget.
Regardless of profession or role, if anyone ever asks you, oh, where is something? Instead of pointing like this, do an open face palm and say, oh, it's just over here. And then you can point like that. Or better yet, walk with them to get it.